Cory,
What's up?
the man, the myth. There you are.
Sorry, man. I thought this was kind of last second, so I figured I'd jump on.
Do it.
What's up,
Do it.
Corey?
What's up? What's up,
It's,
Jimmy? How are you?
it's Jimmy Lang and Cory. Cory, your story is really interesting. We're going to get into the Orlando Fire Drakes, your plan. For
Yeah.
those that don't know, this is one of the baddest motherfuckers in the state of Florida. Are you jiu-jitsu instructor now? Are you doing fight instructing?
No, well, I instruct my team in
Yeah.
judo and striking, but I've been training in mixed martial arts in Orlando for 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, and now you're running a fight club of people that are beating the shit out of each other with medieval weapons. And it's
Yeah. I mean, you could say that. It's an actual international sport called Buhurt. So
Okay.
it's a sport that's been around for over 40 years.
and how did you get involved in this? I know you well enough to know why it would appeal to you, but how did this come across your radar? And
Actually, I saw a TV show. They had it on the History Channel. It was called Night Fight. It's kind of like Forged in Fire, but with combat. And I looked at it. I go, hold on now. So I'm a history geek. I love some weaponry, and I'm a combat guy, and I can do both. And I was shocked at the realism and how authentic it was. Like,
yeah,
the only thing is our weapons aren't sharp, and we literally hit people with 5.5-pound axes in the head, in the face.
unless they block it, of course, right? That's the whole name of the game. Is you better figure out how not to get hit with a 5.5-pound axe.
Well, no, the armor really works. The armor's meant to be hit with these weapons. I mean, it doesn't feel good, but the armor works. It's authentic. It's real steel armor.
Anybody get knocked out so far?
No. Yeah, you'll get done every now and again, but our armor really is meant to fit. And even though our armor has to be authentically period specific, so there has to be manuscripts to back it up from medieval times, we wear protective mouth guards and concussion proof padding underneath.
And so walk me through the start to how you got now, and including the first person. I would imagine Chris is probably the first person you brought in.
Yeah, he's a coach. He's one of our coaches.
I saw that on the website. Chris is like the nicest guy in the world, but he's always, everywhere you are, Chris is. Yeah. So I would imagine he's the first person you threw armor on and started whacking with weapons.
Oddly enough, we're still so new as a team, and we've gathered quite a crazy following so far. All of our armor, I mean, I've got pieces of armor I'll show you right now. We have what's that?
I said, let's do it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, hang on. We've got 13 full suits of armor on the way from Poland right now.
I saw the helmets on your Facebook page, and they look incredible.
Hang on one second. Hang on.
Yeah. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up.
Oh, this is a Templar bassinet.
And that one looks like it's taken a couple shots, but it looks pretty well. It looks pretty well held together, man. Actually, that thing doesn't look dented up.
Well, they don't dent. So if it were mild steel, it would dent. But these are tool grade steel, stainless steel, and some are stainless, some are spring steel.
How much does that thing weigh?
That's 13 pounds.
How much does the full outfit weigh? 70
to 80 pounds.
Yeah, that's no bullshit. So you got to be in pretty good shape just to carry that around for, what do you fight for 30 minutes?
5-minute rounds, 1 minute between rounds. And obviously it's best out of 3. And
you guys are scoring it.
Yeah. I mean, it's last man standing. So we use a lot of judo, and if we can take you down with a double-handed axe, let me grab one of those. Hang on. If we can take you down with a double-handed axe, we will.
Jimmy, you know that this would be absolutely amazing to be part of, right?
Absolutely. This is unbelievable. Are there rules?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got.
Not only are there rules, there are marshals, there are red cards, there are yellow cards. So this is a double-handed axe.
Yeah, that's pretty.
This is made of AR-400 tool grade steel. It's 40 inches long, and this is carbon wrap, and it weighs 5.1 pounds. And the only difference
it looks like, oh, it doesn't have an edge.
no,
Okay.
all of our weapons are blunt. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a sport. We'd have dead people.
Yeah. So if the edge is in place, it can get through the armor?
No, I
I
mean,
was gonna say, it would just be for slicing the weak points in the armor, right? You'd go after the actual edge parts or the soft parts.
of course we do.
Yeah.
Part of our sport is we take these heavy steel weapons and hit people in the armor gaps. The gaps between the brigandine, which is their chest armor, or the cuirass, which is their full steel plate, and their cuisses, their leg armor. There's a little gap there at the hip, and you try and aim for that. But you wear what's called a tabard or a surcoat, and they used to do that back in the day. You wear it over your armor, kind of like a jersey, so that it hides those armor gaps from your enemy. And then we wear gauntlets. These are titanium. And you punch people in the face. These are literally the gauntlets that we wear.
Oh my God, that must feel amazing to hit somebody with that, because the sound and the impact, but without the pain of the yeah. And I would imagine the person who's getting whacked in the head, it's mostly the noise and the impact, obviously, but the noise is probably really annoying and probably the part that hurts the most.
And the coolest thing is the smell of ozone. When steel smacks steel, the smell, the spark that's created and the smell of ozone inside of your helmet is really awakening.
So if you
What is this like?
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I'm gonna grab my
Is
axe.
this like a league or like a I'm thinking a fight club just with
There are
steel.
it's way bigger than that, brother. There are multiple leagues. There's HMB, which stands for historical medieval battle. There's a USA team. There are international competitions all over the world. There's IMCF, International Medieval Combat Federation. There are over 2,000 fighters internationally. Right now, there's always international competitions in Europe. We have tournaments every few months here, all over the country. Almost every major city has, except for Florida. Florida's been kind of behind but we've changed that. We have 25 fighters now.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this. This is amazing.
It's called Buhurt. So I'll give you a little background. In medieval times, they were really getting tired of knights dying in practice because they were using sharp weapons and they would train and they would die. And there's countless knights buried in cemeteries and in church vaults, and they died not for land or for title, but for practice. So they got together, and this is where jousting came about. It then became tournament, and the tournament is called Buhurt, or it's spelled Buhurt, which kind of was put in place so that they could still practice full army maneuvers. Like we do melee battles. Starts with 5 versus 5, but it can go up as high as 150 versus 150, full on armies versus armies in Europe.
That's fucking nuts. And
the rule,
the
rule set is last man standing. So if I hit you with this double-handed axe upside your head or catch you in the clavicle, which we wear a gorget, which protects our neck, and this chainmail aventail protects your neck. But if I hit you in your clavicle and you don't like it and you go down, you're out and you have to sit right there till the end of the round. If I use judo and I do an osotogari or I do a sasai trip or an ouchigari and I plant you on your face, you're out.
So once somebody's hit the ground in any way, shape, or form, that's in and out. Yeah, it's like havoc. Okay.
And you can't do anything. You sit there, and then if you're sitting there in the middle of the list is the medieval version of an octagon. If you're sitting there in the middle of the list, we're going to throw people over you. You're now an obstacle. So the rest of the people are fighting, and you can't see shit. You can't hear shit because you've got this giant, helmet on that's meant to protect you from giant weapons. And you can fall over other people. It's pretty crazy.
What was it like getting insurance for this?
We don't really need insurance for it.
So you have waivers. You just have the waivers and
waivers for days.
Yeah. This would also be, imagine if you open this up for a personal conflict and said, back in the day, the duels, you brought up jousting, but with people that really don't like each other and just want to settle it like in a nice way, hey, come in and do it this way.
We could probably handle the prison problem.
Yeah, I was
easily with this.
Yeah, there's a lot of, this is really good therapy. Like the conflict resolution aspects of this are endless. You know, you could solve a lot of conflict.
You know, it's pretty crazy. And the coolest thing about this is I love MMA. MMA is a saturated sport.
Yeah.
We're garnishing a lot of attention because this is something that I think people are clamoring for right now. It's authentic. It's real. What kid didn't grow up wanting to be a knight in shining armor? I mean, for God's sake, you look at Legoland. Legoland
on my desk. I swear, on my I had to pick it up because it's in my office. But like, I love it. I've got swords all over my house. And
yeah, Legoland sells more of their knight set, their sword and shield and foam than anything else. The one thing that separates us is we do not do nothing is choreographed, nothing is scripted. It's all real, it's authentic, it's a martial art. It's a martial art of its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, you're probably getting a lot of these people that are professional fighters or that have trained at a high level that want to come use their training in a controlled way, but a different way.
Yeah.
Weapons training is so much fun. It just adds a different element.
And we're very inclusive. I mean, we take guys and girls, because we have a women's team as well, of all sizes. Our biggest guy is 6'6", 380 pounds.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He was an arena ball player, offensive lineman. So it's pretty crazy, man.
I would imagine that there are advantages on being size and strength. You know, the weight. There's weight classes for a reason, especially with something.
Well, in the melee fight, there is no weight class. So having a big guy like that, you put armor on him. He now weighs 450 pounds. I'm 185 pounds. With armor, I'm 260, 270. I'm not going to be able to take down a 450-pound guy. So that's really beneficial.
Do you have any videos of the full melees, the 5-on-5s you're talking about? I have the website open. Let me pop this open for people that are watching at home, because this is like, I mean, this is like a dream sport for.
And keep watching us. We're, you know, obviously we're going to have Fox is coming out to do some video filming and all kinds of crazy stuff.
So you're starting to get some of the mainstream press, you know, and
I think we're gonna do a night at the Solar Bears where we might actually, the Solar Bears just reached out. We might do some demos and some fights during intermission, and there's a lot of cool stuff. The greatest thing about this is it's a great combination of authentic martial art and combat, but has a huge entertainment value to it.
100%. Where should I go for the best videos on here?
Now, I mean, some of these videos, you can go to our social media. It shows a lot of soft kit training down below on our social media. But if you want, YouTube has crazy stuff. If you want to go to YouTube, I'll show you some crazy stuff.
YouTube, Florida Fire.
Well, not even that. Just look up the sport Buhurt, so you can kind of get an idea of how big. Yep, B-U-H-U-R-T. Yep.
B-U-H-U-R-T, right?
You betcha.
All right.
It'll even show you 150 versus 150. So this is the stuff you can. Battle of the Nations is fine. We can do all of this. Any one of these you want to watch.
This one right here?
Yep. Or even this hardest hit. We'll do the hardest hit M11 in Russia next.
This is where is this?
This is overseas. So this is Battle of the Nations. These are the best hits of the 2017. Battle of the Nations is where countries fight other countries. So you'll see Switzerland and France and England and the United States and Belgium and Russia and Ukraine and everywhere. Poland. Our armor is currently being made by the Polish national team. They're the armorers that make our armor.
I think that one of the big things, the vision must be tough. You probably don't see a lot of these hits coming because these helmets don't give you a lot of
right.
Yeah, peripheral.
And that's why the armor. It's important that the armor really does work.
That was a nice hit by that. Yeah, so you're going to see some football players enter this too. Jimmy worked with Adrian Peterson for a while. Can you imagine AP getting into this, Jimmy?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Because he's getting into boxing. A lot of these Frank Gore, ex-NFL running backs, getting into boxing. They're all getting into combat sports. But boxing, it may be too late when you're in your late 30s, 40s to become a boxer. becoming a legend in this is perfect for them because they're freaks.
And it's not that difficult. I mean, it's tough. You're fighting, but it's a team sport. You see, that's the USA team right there. That's Paul the Barbarian. I know, yep, some of these guys are pretty tall. But it's pretty crazy. So the goal is to get him down to the ground. See how he's using judo right there? He's trying to do a leg sweep. His buddy's beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, no, these people are getting fucked up pretty good. Like, I mean, they're getting whacked on like crazy. That looks like that little hatchet looks like I
have 4 of those right here on the table. They're called a single-handed falchion.
How many weapons do you go to battle with typically?
If I've got a team of 5 starters, if I'm doing a 5-on-5, is actually an 8-man team with 3 reserves. Everyone needs at least 2 full sets of weaponry. I would say 21 weapons minimum, because stuff happens, things break. See how big that double-handed falchion is, that guy? You want to see one of those? Hang on one second.
Yeah, let me see. What do you think, Jimmy?
I didn't even know this existed.
It makes you happy to know that it does, though.
It really does, man. It really does.
So this is a single-handed falchion, and we would use this in combination with either a buckler or a punch shield that we use to punch people in the face. This, if you can see it, is a double-handed falchion. This is a big boy.
Yeah, that's a big boy. What, you got to be a big boy to carry that.
Well, yeah, and you're really cracking people upside the head with this, and they're amazing. They're high level of.
What are the women? What are the women using? What's their
shit? Go to that one. Go to the
this one.
Yeah, that one. Yes, that's Simon Rorick. He's a good friend of mine. He mentors our team.
This guy to the left, the bigger.
Yep, the guy in red.
Oh yeah, no,
he's the godfather of the sport. He was actually on the TV show Night Fight on the History Channel. He's been down here to do a seminar. He's nuts.
He looks like he's built for it. He's got the strap, so he's got the whole outfit on right. Every bit of it. It looks like he's built to wear it.
See his armor and see his helmet. That's called a clap visor, and that clap visor is a face visor that claps down.
Yeah.
From a hinge at the top. If you'll see this nasal bassinet that I have, it just has chainmail over a cage. Over a cage.
So they actually strapped the helmet down to his armor on his shoulder. Is that to keep the helmet from flying off?
He's the reason why. Here it is. It's called a Simon strap. We strapped this to the back of our armor. There was a fight that he had where he was going to the ground, his helmet rolled off, and he caught an axe to the top of the head, and it poked a hole in his skull about the size of a dime. He was fine. But just like anything else, like NASCAR with Dale Sr. Earnhardt passing away, it created innovation and safety, the Hans device in racing. His injury created the Simon strap. So now it's a requirement that your helmet needs to be strapped to. But that creates a problem on its own. A lot of people don't realize when you're wearing a full face helmet like that, there's a lot of carbon dioxide buildup within the helmet. So your body can eventually start screaming and saying, I need air, and you can't take your helmet off.
So yeah, you're coming across some breathing issues after time. Yeah. People, but maybe even passing out, or
no, you don't see that. You don't see that so much.
And the rounds are short.
For every one person that fights on this, we need 3 support. In order to put a full suit of armor on, it takes 2 people to put armor on me.
How many people do you have now in Florida Fire Drakes?
25. We have 25 fighters.
Are you starting to get more and more people, reaching out to you? Yeah. Is finding equipment a problem to equip many people?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, so some people decide they want to buy their own armor. I personally bought 13 suits of armor so that I could have a rental program and give people the opportunity that couldn't just drop $5,000 on a suit of armor to suit up and fight.
Yeah.
So it takes a good 4 to 5 months to have a suit of armor built. We just placed an order and we did things the right way. And we have 13 suits of armor that'll be here in about 45 days. So at that point, we will have a full competitive team, almost 2 full competitive teams in armor. And our goal is in about 36 months to have 100 men and women in armor between Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, Lakeland, and start hosting our own Metal Fest tournaments here in Orlando.
So there is a little bit of a if somebody comes in, they don't have their own armor, there's a wait to get their own armor, but they can rent the armor from you.
Well, the armor is so important that it's measured to fit someone specific.
Okay.
So when they come in and they show us that they really want to be a part of the sport, it takes 90 something measurements in order to really, the armor has to protect them from being struck with blunt steel weapons. So you can't just, oh, this looks like it'll fit you and try it. No. They come in, they show that they really want to be a part of this. And then we put together a rental agreement and we purchase a suit of armor for them. They rent it from us, et cetera, et cetera. So the armor, it's important for people to understand that the armor it really does work. It is very protective, but it has to fit you.
Yeah. So there's a bit of it's not like getting a gi. There's a bit of a, process that's involved. If somebody wants to join you guys, walk me through how that looks. Like, walk me through the process of somebody out there is listening. I mean, I'm listening right now.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like this.
Yeah.
Valley.
Well, check out the website. That's important, right? FloridaFireDrakes.com. It's so in depth, and we wanted it to be in depth so that it could give people an overview of who we are and what we do. But really, it boils down to come visit a training, work out. More than we do in armor, we train outside of armor, like mixed martial artists with Muay Thai pads and shin guards and mouth guards. And, we train in strength and conditioning and powerlifting and agility, all of that, because we have to train people's body to be able to wear 80 pounds of armor. And once we've trained their body to wear 80 pounds of armor, we then have to train them to fight in 80 pounds of armor. So there's a lot of training in a normal MMA gym setting or CrossFit training setting. And then there's training in armor as well. So coming to visit us and see if you're crazy like us.
It's in Orlando now, right?
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and you have bigger plans though, because I know you're a scaler. You're thinking about how you're going to roll this out nationally. So what are you up to?
Well, I was mentioning, first step is Tampa Titans, Jacksonville Juggernauts, Lakeland Leviathans, the Orlando. Obviously, we call ourselves the Florida Fire Drakes. And then we start putting on our own tournaments, and we'll compete, and we'll bring in teams from other cities, and we'll have rock metal bands and food trucks and beer and, blacksmiths and fire breathers and stilt walkers, you name it. It'll be like death metal meets. It won't be like a Ren Fair. There's nothing wrong with Ren Fairs. We do a lot of cool stuff with them, but we're really more geared towards the athletic and sports side of this. So yeah, tattoo artists will come out and it'll be a lot of fun. So that's kind of what we're looking to do. And then we're going to scale that. I will say, it might sound crazy, but in the beginning of MMA and UFC, somebody laughed at Dana White.
A lot of people did.
Yeah. They said, Dana, you can't put a jiu-jitsu guy against a karate guy or a boxer against a wrestler. And
it's Gracie's before him. So Royce Gracie sold it to Dana White for $3 million, and Dana White was in a lot of debt after a lot of time, and they were trying to cancel him. Remember, it was called So Barbaric. It couldn't be on TV. It was called human dog fighting. There was like outrages. There were outrages about that and about Two Live Crew's music. And
I love Two Live Crew.
They had to go to court, but there was a lot of outrage over those people think outrage is just now. It was happening back then too. And Dana White just kept going, and it's probably the fastest growing sport in history. I've never seen a sport evolve in my lifetime. 25 years, the last 25 years of MMA, it's not even the same sport anymore. I mean, these guys are so high level right now. It's insane.
And I fully anticipate, my plan is to be the Dana White of this sport.
I know you will, but you're the perfect guy for it too.
That's the expectation, man. I believe that this sport is so cool that it needs to have its place amongst society. It should have a broader audience than it has so far. It's been very much in the shadows. It's been a niche sport because it's generally relatively cost prohibitive for a lot of people. So I want to bring it mainstream, and I think we're doing a pretty good job right here. And yeah, that'll show you. We've got some coaches and.
Yeah, I loved your bio. I was because I've known you as a client
a long time
though, but I met you business wise. but going in and reading your bio actually made me smile because first of all, 185, you seem bigger to me than that. For some reason, I thought you were walking around about 205.
I was walking around about 240 at some point,
yeah,
but
like,
I've been training so hard. You know, I'm 5'11", 6 foot. I'm meant to be quick. I'm a striker. I love, like, for me, my role on the team is, you'll see it says down there, sword and board. So I use a single-handed mace. And because I've been a boxer for so long, I like to punch people in the face with my gauntlets. With this mace, I choke up. Like if I hold this gauntlet, I put this mace in it here, and I punch the hell out of people's face. And then in my other hand, I have a punch shield, and I'm leveling people in their face. And I do that to get close. And then to create the opportunity for judo trips, to take people to the ground. I believe in economy of motion. If I only have 1 minute to rest between rounds, I want to take my opponents down as quickly as possible.
The fighting style the most effective was my favorite answer, because there's so many different styles. You know, at the end of the day, whatever's best for that particular scenario is the right answer.
You know, we take a lot from Greco-Roman wrestling. We do take some stuff from jiu-jitsu, from judo, from striking, from Muay Thai. We're creating our own martial art, and it's amazing.
Did you ever get in and take a quote unquote professional fight, or have you just been
Nope.
fighting? Yeah, just fighting.
Nope. Just been training for many. Yeah, no, I've been a businessman and just fighting. And, you know, predominantly I was one of those guys in the gym that, you know, literally was a sparring partner for all the guys that were taking fights. I was a businessman. I couldn't afford to look like hamburger meat. And
the CTE too, the brain damage, you clearly don't have it, but
no,
it becomes an issue. That means,
and I don't have cauliflower ears either, which is good. Well, there's nothing wrong with that either.
That's impressive.
But for me, you know, I found a sport. The armor is incredible. The armor works. It's beautiful. I mean, I've got some other helmets if you want to see a couple, if you got a couple minutes. There's Chris, you know him.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, Jimmy, the nicest guy, but he's a savage. You know, he's one of those guys that if you meet, you wouldn't mess with him, but you'd think, oh, this guy's really, really a sweetheart.
Well, you want him to be your best friend, because
God forbid, because God forbid he doesn't like you, but he'll choke you out real quick too. Yeah, he's a big boy. 245. He's a big boy. Punisher, double-handed axe.
Yeah.
Now Nick, I haven't met.
No, Nick just started on the team. We've only been training as a team since March the 2nd. We've accomplished so much in such a short amount of time. It's so much growth. It's incredible. Nick trains in jiu-jitsu at the Jungle in downtown Orlando, but you know, he's part of our crew and one of our assistant coaches, and does a good job. He's my size.
I wonder, how do these grapplers adapt to this? Because they're so used to, you know, shoots and control and body position, and you know, it's a whole different animal.
It's just a change of methodology, right? Because you kind of have to stand up. Not you stay in a fighting stance. You stay engaged in your core, engaged in your quads, right? I'm 6 foot tall. I fight at 5'10". I've got my knees bent, but I'm not bending over at the waist, because I'm wearing a 13-pound helmet. I'm wearing full plate armor on my shoulders and pauldrons. And if I do this, I'm simply allowing gravity and my opponent to squash and put me to the ground. So I need to maintain my balance. We really believe that there are 3 positions within the field or the list at any one time. Flankers are meant to be fast. They change the plays. They create movement. Punishers are hybrids. They protect our tanks. They're bigger. They're meant to be less mobile, but they're really meant for double-handed weapon sets and chopping trees down. And our tanks are our big ones. Our tanks stay on the list, like staying on the octagon. They don't go down. And they also use sword and board, and they're our last line of defense. They're also massive men. If they get their hands on you, you're done for.
Yeah. This is so awesome. Have you thought about going on the jousting portion as well? Is that kind of come across, or is that just too ambitious?
I don't ride horses. I don't know how to ride a horse.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, it's you know, I know plenty of jousters, and I would imagine that eventually, as we develop these tournaments, that we may introduce some of that into it. But the tournaments really are a mixture of, it's MMA, it's a sport. There are marshals in the list. We have yellow cards and red cards. You know, sometimes there's 40, 50 teams coming for these tournaments, and you're there to win gold. This
So-
could be the way you do divorces. You could have a husband and wife, but the wife gets to bring her 2 female best friends. They get to armor up and try to take you down.
Yeah.
3-on-1.
We
Let's-
also do pro fights. Pro fights are a one-on-one version, and that is weight class based. And you can take it to the ground, and you have 10 seconds to beat the crap out of somebody on the ground while they're in armor.
Is this really difficult to score as a judge?
I mean, is boxing really difficult to score if you're a judge?
It's similar. Like yeah. But
Don't we hate it when it goes to the cards?
And there's so many bad decisions too, right?
Even in UFC, I've been literally watching. Not there's nothing wrong with it, right? The most amazing combat sport you can see, right? The most amazing organization. But when you watch it, you're putting it in the hands of a human, and there's no definitive answer. And you're literally watching a bad call. You're saying that's bullshit. That person did not win that fight.
In the UFC, it's never a horrible thing. Like you've never seen a decision where you're like, I've never seen anything so bad. That does happen in local fight shows, but not, on the big level.
No.
But it still happens. And it is a tough sport to, I mean, how do you score a takedown versus ring control versus an attempted submission where you had somebody, close to tapping in a Kimura, or you had them in, you actually had them in a guillotine for a good 30 seconds and they somehow got out.
Or you've got them in side control for 2/3 of the round, but then you get kicked upside your head because you let the guy up, and that somehow is weighted more than the control you had for the entire round.
Or your side control for 30 seconds and the other person's tapping at you, not hurting you, but how are you scoring that? Because I've seen some knockouts off the back. It's pretty rare, but it does happen.
Yeah, for us, it's pretty simple. You do get scored points for landed contact. You do get scored points for landed sword strikes or weapon strikes. But the reality is, takedowns are important. If you go to the ground, it's really pretty devastating. The reason why it's devastating, the reason why our sport in the melee portion, the rules are like when you hit the ground, 3 points of contact, you're done, is in medieval times that represented your death. Yeah. If you were fighting another knight, your armor was so heavy, if you went to the ground, you were catching a knife underneath your helmet and you were being dispatched. So that's why we use that rule set.
I have the perfect person for your team up in your area. Yeah, I'll send you a video after this. You'll understand what I'm saying. Bruce for him would be Jimmy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Bruce is right up there. He wins tough man competitions.
That's a calling for him.
Yeah, this is what he's built to do. Like,
let's do it.
Perfection.
He'll be your ultimate tank, but he's like 250-pound tough man wrestler that fights for real, like does real fights, but savage. So this is the coolest thing ever. And what can we do to help? What can I do to help? I'm down here in Tampa. So what's the plan for the Tampa team?
Yeah, so, I'm still trying to identify an MMA gym in Tampa. I'm really good friends with Matt Arroyo. I used to train with Matt Arroyo at Gracie, Tampa South, that MMA gym. He's got a full plate. What I really need is to identify an MMA opportunity there, because we train out of real facilities. We can't train in, it's not that we can't, but we don't want to train in parks, and it's not LARPing. Like, we hate that word. So it's really a matter of scalability. Right now, we're trying to really get Orlando situated and going, but just keep awareness. Have me on every now and again, and we'll show you what we're doing. As we get stuff, like, we'd love for you guys to champion. And here's our big boy, 380 pounds. This boy.
I was gonna say,
he's huge, man. Like, you don't try and do a judo trip on Coach Blaine. You just can't, right? He's too big.
I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this to the boys, Eric, Ioannidis, and them.
Oh, Ioannidis would be all over this too. So
that would fit like a glove.
Jimmy trained the Redskins. So Jimmy's an ex professional boxer that fought and trains the Redskins defensive line coach, technically, for a little bit there, at least unofficially. On the boxing side, to toughen them up. So so he's got the big boys up there. They'd love it too. What gym are you training out of in Orlando?
We train out of American Combat Club. Okay. I've been with American Combat Club for 15 years. So that just,
A lot
You know,
of
and again, future plans is Fire Drake Academy. Eventually, we will have our own dedicated space and gym for just this sport.
Yeah, it's such a great thing. This is needed in a world of wussies and pussies. This is exactly what the world needs. And thank you so much, Cory, for bringing this to the world. Hopefully, you'll turn some women into men and some men into bigger men.
We're hoping. I'm tired of that sissy shit. The entitlement.
No more sissy shit. Let's do more Florida Fire Drakes. I say Orlando. Florida Fire Drakes. More combat sports. More toxic masculinity is what the world needs.
I love it.
And you are, I expect, to be the Dana White of this sport, because I know you. Anything I could do to help, I got your back, brother. I love you to pieces, and thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Let's do it again. Let's keep in contact. I'm a big believer in this.
Let me know. I'll keep you guys abreast of what happens. Thanks a lot, man. I apprate you both.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend.
Peace. Be good, guys. Take care.
All right, bye.
Take it easy.
All right, Jimmy, let's wrap this bad boy up. I think we've accomplished a lot. What do you think of that? That's so
real quick. Real quick. That's fucking cool, man. That is some cool shit.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, that's exactly what the world needs, is people in big chainmail just beating the crap out of it. I mean, it appeals to me on so many levels to be able to just go crazy with that.
He said the perfect thing.
Oh.
Prisons.
Oh my God, they would go nuts with this stuff.
They'd love it. It'd be something to do.
Oh, people would go nuts too. I mean, it'd be like their ultimate, and they get it all out of their system. You could so much conflict resolution.
Fuck yeah.
Therapists would love this. Prisons would love this. Marriage counselors would love this, because you really can just get it out, without hurting the other person. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. At some point, you'll probably want to put the armor on and try to beat the shit out of me. I'd understand.
I think that take a lot of armor to cover your big ass.
My fat ass would need a larger chain of mail. Well, luckily, I got a small head, so they can use the head stuff for the rest of me. That is actually really, really cool, though. I'm like kind of feel like coming out of Rocky right now, like I'm Italian, I'm like ready to go out and fight, get in, not literally, but like get all jazzed up about stuff.
Yeah, that's bad.
So would you ever do something like that?
I think so. I probably, my whole life up until maybe 40, I would say no, but why not?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to be fun. Even if you lose, you're still whacking somebody with a big giant thing. You're going to get at least one person, you know what I mean? And you're going to get, like everything else, you're going to get better at it. It doesn't look, it looks like it's skilled, but it looks like for the most part, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of determination, and then of course skill after. But from what I saw,
it seems very blunt, just crashing into each other. I mean, it does not seem meticulous at all.
No, I think the Florida, he's going to have a problem with his area is going to be so advanced that the other parts are going to have to play catch up. He's going to have to find the right savages in the right area that are going to want this. But as he gets national exposure for it, and I know him, he's a focus driven guy. He's the type of guy that could drive this nationally. The problem is scalability and speed. People don't want to wait 13 weeks to get their armor, so he'll figure that out.
Well, has he been through, have they been through the whole period of same thing that UFC went through, where they're trying to ban it, and it's the worst thing we've ever seen?
I don't think they're going to do that with this, because it's so covered. So it's not a savage. People are going to look at this as way less savage than UFC, even though jiu-jitsu really isn't a violent sport at all. It's just math. It's a mathematical thinking sport. The punching part, can get a little violent, obviously the ground and pound part, but for people in the sport, if you're really doing your jiu-jitsu well, you're not going to get punched a lot in the face. At some point you're going to figure out how to get out of that and get someone on the ground. There's some violent knockouts. Don't get me wrong. This isn't going to be like that. I don't think he's going to face that resistance from the media. I think he's going to actually get accolades, especially if he's positioning it as something that can help prisoners, conflict resolution in a variety of different ways. Obviously, husband and wife might not be the best way to go. Your husband could beat the shit, that's something Andrew Tate might be for, but this podcast is against that. Although I guarantee some women would fuck dudes up. I mean, they're gonna come in angry like little chihuahuas taking dudes out. So I think we've done a lot here, man. We've got a lot of stuff to cover next Wednesday, but thank you for joining. You got any plans for this weekend? What are you doing?
I am really looking forward to this weekend. We're going up to Deer Lake. There's about probably 50 ex-fighters. We're going up. We're going to hang out there, fucking have a bonfire and just talk shit.
What, 50 ex-fighters, boxers? So you're having a guys weekend with ex-boxers?
Boxers, yeah. Scully organized it. It's up at Ali's training camp.
Dude, that's fucking awesome, man. Tell the ones that I know that I said, so Scully and whoever else that I said hi. Have a blast.
Will do.
Come back with some good stories, but change the names if you can.
Yeah, man. I was going to ask you, is that something that you would want me to interview anybody or talk, film?
Well, I mean, anything you have for content, go for it. If there's somebody up there that, that you think would be good, just invite them on the show. Anybody that wants to come on and just tell their story, let them tell their story. It doesn't matter if they're a champion or 2-20. They've still got a great story. Let's do it.
Right on.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. God bless.
All right, my man.
Have fun. Bye-bye.
Nice job.
All right. Bye.